Hi guys. It is Wednesday at 2 o'clock, and therefore it is time for YouTube Live. I know I did not do one last week, but the deadlines were kicking my behind, and I decided it was better for my peace of mind to get stuff done than to do a live. So we're back, and we're inside today. No ocean view today. It is windy out there, and you can't really complain that it's cold when it's in the 60s. That's Fahrenheit for my UK friends. But, you know, it was 75 a couple days ago, so I'm not sitting on that porch right now with the camera going on because with the breeze, it makes it feel very chilly. So one of the things I learned this week was that I have no shawls, and that frustrates me. Since I've moved to the beach, I'm always waiting for it to be cool enough for me to put a shawl on, and I make all these beautiful shawls and sweaters and cowls and whatnot, and I don't have a single one. Whatever that was salvaged from the flood is in storage, and the ones that I have made recently or caused to be made, like the Sensible shawl, which I wore at SAF 2 weeks ago, but I had to send it to the yarn company. Same thing with my knitted aquamarine shawl, which I really enjoy wearing, but I sent that off to our friends at Fiber Seed so that they could show it at the shows. So I'm chilly. All I have found so far is my heavy, heavy winter coat, which I certainly do not need, and 2 sweatshirts. So I may have to rethink my winter jacket position. Every week or so I go over to storage just to see if there's something that I need that I can reach, and there really isn't. Although I did. Now this is another completely different story. So chaos ensued from the flood. We all know, we're all sick of talking about it. You know, there's been 16 more horrible things happen since then, but I was just getting settled last week. I'm like, I'm making deadlines, I'm catching up. Stuff is okay. You know, I'm anxious that I don't have a lease, but I live in this beautiful apartment. I can stay here till March. Everything's fine. And my car committed ritual suicide at the mechanics. It was a very, very old car. It did not owe me anything. And every time I had taken it into the shop to have something done, I had a conversation with the mechanic who I trusted very much. Pat's Auto Service Center, if you're in the Wilmington area. No affiliates, I just really like them. They've been very good to me. And he sat me down on Thursday and said, you know, you always ask me if it's worth putting money in the car, and I always say, it's not my decision to make. I can only give you my opinion. He said, get rid of the car. There's so much wrong with it right now that it would cost more than the book value of the car to repair it. And, you know, I know you don't have the cash. So he said, if I were you, I would get rid of the car. So he cleaned the engine. You know, he did the oil change because it needed to be done. And I didn't want to try and trade it in looking like it did because I had been driving a lot, most recently to Asheville. That's probably the trip that killed the car. But it was still worth it. So I traded the car in on Thursday, and I'm driving a newer used car. Now, I'm really happy with this car. I got good service. It's very nice. It's got 50,000 miles on it, and it is many model years newer. I was driving a 2008, and now I have a 2017, so suddenly it's like having jumped 500 years. In car years, you know. I'm just aggravated that I have a car payment, but I am blessed that I was able to do it. They did accept the piece of crap Saturn as a trade-in, so I didn't have to spend any cash. So on the one hand, I'm not delighted that I have a car payment. On the other hand, it was time. The Saturn didn't owe me anything, and I feel safer. You know what I mean? It was not good timing with everything going on. I certainly didn't want to have to buy a car. That said, I'm not concerned every time I get in the car. It's like, do I smell hot rubber? Do I smell hot oil? Is the engine mount going to go? You know, stopping and working on the gear shift because it needed work and I didn't want to put the money in. So it's once again a high quality problem to have. You know what I mean? It's frustrating about the car payment, but God, I love driving this car. It's so much newer than what I was driving, so I really am enjoying. I still don't run too many errands because, you know, I'm trying to work on riding the bike and not putting a lot of miles on, but when I have to drive the car, I certainly enjoy it, so that's pretty cool. Now, back to yarn, which is what you actually care about. Two things that I want to tell you. One is there is a new knit pattern available for free on the blog. I can't show it to you because I had done the pattern some months ago and I don't know where the sample went. I'm hoping it's in storage somewhere, but the pattern had been knit already. It had been on when I was in Hochanda. When I was, the last time I was on Hochanda, we used it. It is a reversible cable brimmed knit hat. I think it's pretty clever. Obviously, I like most of what I design, but you knit the reversible cable on 2 needles. So you knit the brim of the hat, and then you pick up along the side, and then you can knit up either on straight needles if that's what you prefer because it's in garter stitch, or you can knit in the round after that point, but you're going to do the reversible cable on 2 needles. Couple things that I like about it. One is I love the yarn. It's in Zen Yarn Garden Serenity Worsted, which, as you may know, is one of my favorite yarns. Again, no affiliate links here or anything. I just really like the yarn, always have. And I think it's in the peacock colorway, so that's kind of cool. The other thing I like about it is that you could knit it on straight needles or on circular needles if that's what you prefer. It's interesting to me as I have started working more in the UK, I'm told a lot of people prefer, in the UK, your average stitcher is more likely to use straight needles, whereas in the US, your average knitter is more likely to use circular needles. So I didn't know that when I started working in England, so that was kind of interesting. But the pattern is written so you can go either way. I also like that you can wear it 2 different ways. If you keep the brim folded down, it's more of a slouchy kind of a look. The brim is close fitting, but the hat sort of slouches in the back. You can fold the brim up, however, because A, the cable is reversible, and B, of course, garter stitch is reversible. So you can also fold it up, and then you get a close-fitting hat with more brim. So it's very versatile. So it uses 175 yards of worsted yarn. I always, of course, recommend Zen Yarn Garden, just because I like the yarn. And because if you're going to do a very simple knit, I really like the pattern to have some, you know, you want the yarn to be interesting if the stitching is simple. So that is up on the blog, hookedforlifepublishing.com/blog. I'll put a direct link up in the description of this video when I'm done. The next thing, now this is not up yet, but it will be any minute. A couple of weeks ago, I showed you some yarn from Haute Bohème Fibers, and it has been made into these 2, I've lost one already, there we go, 2 really cool granny square cowls. So this pattern will be on the blog probably tomorrow, maybe the next day, depends on how things go. And one of the reasons I went with Haute Bohème is I enjoy the Yarny. Another reason is that she was willing to do mini skeins for this pattern so that you could buy essentially a skein and a half, so you could get a good value for your cowl. However, what we learned is if you buy 2 full skeins instead of a skein and a half, you can actually get 2 cowls out of it if you reverse the colors. So here is one version of the cowl, and here is the other version of the cowl. So you could make one for you and one for a friend, one for you, one for your sister, one for you, one to donate. So if you get the 2 full skeins instead of a skein and a half, you can make 2. And they are mirror images of each other. So that pattern is not yet on the blog, but it will be soon. When it is available, I will link it in the description below, and I will also, when I talk to the yarn company, I will link out to Haute Bohème, and so that you can see this yarn. But I'm really pleased with how these came out, and the stitcher said she really enjoyed working with the yarn. So I just picked these up an hour ago, so these will be on the blog soon. So that's it for free patterns, but the knitting pattern's already up. The crochet pattern will be soon. What else is going on? I did my applications for CGOA, Crochet Guild of America. The show will be in Manchester, New Hampshire next July. I do not know yet if I will be teaching because I have to be selected, but I did do the application last year. I had not, because for a variety of reasons, I did not want to go to the West Coast over the summer this past year, so I didn't apply. And several people have messaged saying, hey, are you teaching Manchester? Well, it's not up to me 100%, but part of it is. But I did do that over the weekend, and they will let the teachers know right before the new year. And I'm sure that they will make announcements in January or February. But for those of you who are asking me about Crochet Guild, I don't know, but I tried. Also, I pitched 6 brand new classes, because one of the things about teaching, you have to pitch the old standbys because people like them, but also you want to have something available for students who are regulars at the event or regulars of yours, and they want something new to take. So I developed 6 new classes for this round of submissions. So here's hoping. Anyway, oh, and the Tunisian book is done. Hallelujah. So I am going back to the piles of things that need to be done. I will do lives next Wednesday. I'm not sure if they will be exactly at 2 o'clock, because that is American Thanksgiving is next Thursday, and Wednesday I will be driving to Charlotte to spend the holiday with my niece and nephew, as I enjoy doing. So I will do lives next week. I'm just not sure it will be 2 o'clock on the dot. As always, please follow me on Instagram, Hooked for Life LLC, or on Pinterest at Hooked for Life, F-O-R Life on Pinterest. I don't know why my Pinterest numbers are blowing up. So I have been putting a lot of effort into posting every day on Pinterest. There are boards that are just interesting. There are crochet boards, there's knit boards, there's sewing boards. There are boards focused on techniques that I teach. So check me out on Pinterest at Hooked for Life, and please follow me there. Thank you so much for joining me. As always, I'm headed over to Facebook to do the Facebook Live at 2:30, and I'll see you guys next week. Thanks for hanging out. Bye.